This is Jack Wyatt with Credible Information, and we have the pleasure tonight to talk to Amy G.
It's a pleasure to talk to
A
you,
new acquaintance
Jack.
with us, but just wonderful. We saw your show a couple of nights ago. It was great.
Thank
I loved
you so
it.
much for coming.
And it's a variety show with singing and acrobatics and slapstick. How do you describe the show when people ask you what the show's like? How would you describe it?
It's a comedy about shame. So it's I still have a terrible time describing it, actually, Jack. To be honest,
it's a little singing, it's a little acrobatics. You roller skate, you do all sorts of crazy stuff. You're funny, you're poignant.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I'm a singer, and I do physical comedy, and I employ every means that I can pull in order to do that.
I think that's a good point. There's everything in the show, a little bit of everything, and that's kind of the special quality of it.
Thank you.
And now, you've used some of these characters before that are in the show, and this is a kind of chance to kind of put it together all in one kind of a...
Yeah. I'm a physical comedian that's been working in the variety world, essentially, as a clown, for lack of a more elegant word. I work mostly in Europe, but all over the world in Asia and Australia and South America and wherever they'll have me.
How do you describe the show when people ask you? Do you know what you say?
It's pure silliness. Pure silliness with a it's a
kind of a sentimental heart, though.
I would say so. It's an exploration into shame. So this is a fairly dark heart.
Entershament.
Yes, Entershament is the name of it, and it's trying to look at these dark thoughts and make light of them. So taking this stuff that is normally hidden or tucked away, and fear and shame and all of these horrible emotions, to really air them out and give them a good slapstick treatment, so that we can just have less of it in the world. I think it's unnecessary.
Yeah, without giving anything about the show away, because we want people to come and see it anyway. But bring in elements of things that happen to you that may have been embarrassing. They may be personal issues that deal with shame and your own self-image. But they're all things that we all deal with. That's, I think, part of the show, is that it touches everybody, because who doesn't have that?
Oh, good. It is very human to feel these things, and so while I started looking at them and going, oh God, do I really want to go over that again, or talk about it, or bring it out, or how do I do that? Really, when I started to look at them and make jokes about them, it became so easy and fun, and I just started to feel like my life has been a pony ride. I know a lot of people in the world have had a much rougher go than me, but I also know that almost everybody in the world has their own stuff to deal with, and you can either choose to go and expose yourself in life or not. There are a lot of people that I know that I meet instantly, and I feel instantly comfortable with, because we have a rapport, because we're talking, because we are showing ourselves. And other times, I grew up very shy. I was a very shy little girl, and I know exactly what it feels like to hide as a human, and I do think that showbiz had a lot to do with how I came out of my shell, because I learned to accept to be looked at. I learned to get over, and it's interesting, because at first I think show business gave me a script. It gave me the right thing to do, that I knew that what I was going to be doing in that time, so I didn't doubt myself in those moments on stage, because they had been practiced, rehearsed, unlike every other moment in life where you have to make it up on the spot and it's horrible. And then started writing my own music and doing that kind of stuff, and last year in Vienna, I was doing shows in Vienna as a singer and a comedian and a host for a very beautiful cabaret show there, and an incredible world star came into the tent, the Spiegel tent where I was performing, and saw the show and loved what I was doing, and he said, "I want you to study with my wife." And so I studied with this woman out in the the vineyards of Vienna in this beautiful tenor's mansion, looking out over all these frosted over vineyards.
And another thing you do in the show, which I love, is the ukulele. Now, where does that come from? Where do you get that?
Well, my grandfather was a vaudevillian, an amateur vaudevillian.
So this is in the family. This is in your genes then.
The ukulele, my grandfather played the ukulele. He also was a tap dancer and a canoe racer and an acrobat, a gymnast. They called him the Little Giant. And my mother, on my mother's side, also played the ukulele. Now, the ukulele really just transformed her. She would take it off the wall at my pleading, please just play ukulele. And a very quite serious Midwestern woman would all of a sudden turn into a really cute and cheeky little lady that would, tootsie, and play all of these funny songs. And so I just had these great feelings about the uke. So around the turn of the century, I picked it up again after learning it when I was 9 years old or whatever it was for the first time, and got really into it. It's such a great touring instrument. It allowed me to start singing again, like to be able to accompany myself and write music and just play on the road. I was working on boats and living in a truck and all of these lifestyles that don't afford a piano. Definitely you can always have a ukulele in your bag.
Absolutely. Another element of the show is your athleticism. You roller skate a lot in the show. Very accomplished, and you really do a lot of physical things. What's that come from? Your athleticism. Have you always been an athlete?
I don't consider myself an athlete because I hate competition, but I was always a dancer. And I'm a clown, and I suppose my athleticism comes from the circus because I work in circuses, and so I am working out in order to walk I walk a slack wire, or I can juggle, and I can do a handstand and these kinds of things. But I was never very competitive. Like, I tried to do gymnastics as a child, and it just freaked me out. I just never.
Well,
never
you're a natural performer, and a natural. There's people who just are physically kind of coordinated to do things with their body, whether it's dance or whatever. Yeah.
And I like to just be an idiot with myself. I think for the first half of my life I took myself so seriously that now that I slipped into clown way back when, probably 20 years ago. And when I realized I was a clown that night, first I got all giddy and excited, and then I just wept. I just knew, oh, jeez, this is my life. But it's my humor as well. I just like physical comedy. I know it may be lowbrow.
It is, but it's intellectual. There's a lot. And you're laughing, but really, there's a lot of thought in this. There's a lot of things to think about, I think, when you see the show.
I'm glad you say
We've already talked about, shame and everybody's problems of being embarrassed and being in performance and so forth. But
But this is where all of the best comedy comes from. I mean, if you look on every single comedy channel, there's going to be somebody up there making an ass of themselves. That's what we do as comedians, is we take the stuff that is hard and make it light. That's our job. And that's, whether you're doing it with a pratfall or a witty line or a funny song or a trick or whatever it is, it's just bringing light where there was dark. But if I was going to be pedantic about it, which I try not to be, but because I do spend my life doing this, I do have to hope that it's doing some good in the world, and that is to get rid of shame. We don't need it. Nope, it's not useful. Guilt is one story. When you feel bad about something you did, that's a useful thing. That pushes us forward. But shame is just feeling bad about what you are. And
yeah, be who you are.
Yeah, that's and be it loud, or at least so other people can hear.
Well, I'm going to wrap it up by just again telling everybody that this is just a fabulous show. You're that term multi-talented is thrown around, but you really are. You're a great, fabulous singer and a really wacko, crazy comedian. And it was wonderful to see your show, and keep it up. Just keep going and keep doing what you're doing, because you're a unique person. That's a really unusual, interesting, edgy, and beautiful show.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. I thought it was great. And keep it up. We'll be looking for you again when you're here again and doing the next stuff. So good luck with the tour and everything else about it.
Thanks so much, Jack. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to have a friend like you.
Good.
Come out and see the show. I
Thanks
promise you'll
again.
like it.